Speaker, I rise to speak in support of the Justice of the Peace Amendment Bill 2025. I declare at the outset that I'm a JP and have been so for many years. The staff in my electorate office are also JPs, and I thank them for the outstanding service that they provide to our community, and it's always with a smile. The functions of Justice of the Peace are regulated by a framework that includes Justice of the Peace Act 2002 and the Oaths Act 1900. The most common functions performed by the Justice of the Peace in New South Wales are to witness the signing of a statutory declaration, witness the signing of an affidavit, and certify that a copy of an original document is indeed a true copy. JPs are appointed by the Governor of New South Wales for 5 terms. As said, they are volunteers who come from all walks of life and all sections of the community. JPs are people who are trusted to be honest, careful and impartial when performing the functions of a JP. They must not charge a fee or accept a gift for providing JP services, tell people what to write in a stat dec or affidavit, or write it for them or give them legal advice. This bill is timely as it will amend the Justice of the Peace Act 2002 to provide JPs with a statutory protection from liability. In effect, an immunity from suit that applies when JPs are carrying out their functions in good faith. The statutory protection provided in the bill will also align New South Wales with most other Australian jurisdictions, which have similar protections. This reform was informed by targeted consultation undertaken in 2024 with key stakeholder organisations, and I thank everyone for their contributions to the consultation. And historically, Speaker, can I say I was really fascinated when I went back to research this contribution to see how far the Justice of the Peace role went back, and it was to the 14th century as peace officer system was introduced into England to enforce the King's peace. In 1327, King Edward III, by way of legislation, introduced the peace officer to deal with minor offences and thus allow judges the time to deal with the more serious offences. By 1361, these officers were permitted to use the title Justice, and so over the years became known as Justice of the Peace, combining the two notions of justice and peace officer. Edward III in 1361 passed a law requiring them to meet at least 4 times a year to ensure that the more severe offences were brought to trial. Out of this requirement came the term quarter sessions. The role evolved gradually and spread into the colonies as the British Empire expanded, and in 1788, Governor Phillip of the new colony at Sydney Cove was also a Justice of the Peace and had the power to appoint judges and justices of the peace. January 1901, following the proclamation by Queen Victoria, New South Wales ceased to be a self-governing colony and of course became a state of the Commonwealth of Australia. In Australia, JPs were essentially honorary magistrates authorised to arrest, take bail, bind to good behaviour and suppress riots. They also administered the convict system, oversaw convict musters and granted tickets of leave. They had the power to sit in court, adjudicate in petty crimes and minor civil matters, and commit serious cases for trial to higher courts. Following the introduction of paid magistrates in the mid-1820s, it gradually reduced the powers and responsibilities of JPs. As the years passed, so did the responsibilities. In recent years, with the onset of more complex and intricate legislation, the Justice of the Peace role have been taken over partly by the appointment of professionally qualified magistrates. This has not diminished the importance of JPs today. Recent legislation in the Oaths Act is imposing more responsibility upon the Justice of the Peace to ensure that objectives of the legislation are correctly carried out. But nowadays we make appointments from a broader section of the community. They're respected citizens entrusted by their community to take on those special responsibilities. Justice of the Peace from across the state were recently honoured at a ceremony in New South Wales Parliament, marking half a century for their service to community. More than 150 JPs who have witnessed and certified critical documents were recognised for their outstanding volunteer efforts. Among them was my dear friend Gary Murphy and Elder Uncle William Bill Phillips, who at 84 is New South Wales' longest serving Aboriginal JP. The government's updated JP register makes it easier for Aboriginal communities to access JP services, and people can search the database. I thank the Attorney-General for bringing this legislation forward, and as I mentioned, thank him also for that function which was held here at Parliament House.